A very good morning to you. Welcome to the program. It's the Morning Brief. The Friday edition is day 2 into the brand new month. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga. And as always, I'm with my goons. They don't like it, but I like to say it.
Well, we'll give up, Jeffrey. It's a beautiful Friday morning. Thank God it's Friday. Time to rest and distress. Good morning. Welcome to the Perfect Morning Starter, where we help you set you in the weekend mood. I am Bukola Koka.
I must deny every allegation of goonery this morning, but it's a beautiful Friday morning in the nation's capital, Abuja. Good morning and a warm welcome. I'm Kayode Okikele. Jeffrey Bukola, what are you guys tracking?
Well, maybe we'll throw it back to you, who is in the nation's capital. That's where a lot of things are happening. The president is there, the National Assembly is there, the judiciary is there. Everybody's literally where you are. So what exactly are you hearing and seeing as far as the nation's capital is concerned since you arrived maybe about 24 hours ago?
Or less.
Well, that's a fair point, Jeffrey. And let me just start from my experience flying into the nation's capital, Abuja. I know recently aviation conversation has been dragged into politics. So I was built to fly Ibom Air, and, you know, all of a sudden, when we're about to land in Abuja, we heard that there was terrible weather, you know, severe thunderstorms and the rest. So we couldn't land, right? So guess what, guys? We had to go all the way back to Lagos to refuel. But, you know, there was a lot of relief when we could see the lights, you know, in Lagos. And then we landed. But first, I must commend, you know, the captain, Captain Jimmy's colleague, and then the flight attendants as well, Emmanuel. They did a fantastic job, you know, calming the nerves. But the point is, we refueled in Lagos and then headed back to Abuja. So while I commend, you know, the pilot for making such critical decision, you know, thank God he made that decision. We landed safely, you know, with all the safety measures put in place. I just want to declare to you guys that, you see, I didn't have to ditch Ibom Air. You see, I followed Ibom Air all through. I know some others have said they might switch flights and all of that, but sometimes you just have to stick to it because that's the safest option that you have. So this conversation right here is also about politics as much as it's about aviation. I'm sure you guys know what I mean. Jeffrey Bukola.
Only too well, Kayode. And I wish, you know, the governor of Akwa Ibom State would take a cue from your example. But that's a once-in-a-lifetime, beyond the politics, Kayode. This is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And, you know, I feel like, you know, getting up and dancing to rejoice on your behalf this morning. But we also call on the members of the People's Democratic Party to take a cue from Kayode's example of following through all the way with one flight. Jeffrey, what are you
It's quite interesting. I really don't know what to add. I think this is the best illustration in terms of response to people that are abandoning their flights. Whether you're in the APC, you want to abandon your flight to the PDP, or the PDP that is aggressively abandoning their flight for the APC. This is just a commit to your flight. Commit to whatever can take you to your destination. It may be a temporary setback. I don't know what to say. But this is a classic...
Despite the risk,
yes,
Jeffrey.
It's a classic example of how to manage risk and crisis. So this is notes to Oborowore, notes to Umoino, who hasn't defected, but the cues are there. And to everybody.
Notes to Oshun.
Yes, and we also hear that some persons...
Notes to Rivers.
Yeah, some person may be moving from even the APC. So notes to them too. So that whether you're moving from PDP to APC, APC to PDP, or Labour to wherever, stick to your flight. The pilot, I don't even know what to say, but it's a classic example, and it's beautiful to see how you've illustrated this. But on a serious note, this is what we're talking about, driven by ideology, driven by interest, sticking to what you believe and all of that. But of course, we know that it's a different kettle of fish for Nigerians. But good job you've done. Congratulations. Shout out to all the people that helped to make sure that flight landed safely, from the pilots to the attendants to everybody. I've experienced that kind of situation before, and it wasn't funny, you know, just hovering, just like that. You're not seeing anything until you just tell yourself, well, whatever happens is in the hands of God. But we're happy you landed safe. Bukola?
So But beyond Ibom Air and Air Peace this morning, it's also interesting to see, Labour putting government to account from the May Day celebrations yesterday, demanding accountability, demanding good governance, demanding a lot more beyond the policy, beyond the reforms, demanding empowerment for workers who are indeed at the engine room of the economy and government systems and structure. But we hope that this is not just a storm in a teacup. We hope that Labour's voice does not become hollow along the way, as we have seen in the last 2 years under this administration. We hope that Labour will follow through with a demand for accountability, good governance, and the results, not beyond the policies. And it's also significant to note that Labour is asking for an extension of retirement age to 65 and years in service from 35 to 40. That says a whole lot. This conversation has been ongoing, by the way, but it says a whole lot about perhaps the fear of workers outside of the system. It seems to me like there is nothing to look forward to outside the system, and the need to remain in the system for a sense of security. Of course, there's a lot of consequences around that, but from yesterday, that's significant to note. Jeffrey.
Okay, let's get to what we're doing today on the program and where we'll start from. As everybody's gearing up to the 2027 elections, well, it's the midterm of everybody that was elected in May last year. Inaugurated, I should say, May last year. So look at the justice system. We're looking at corruption. We're looking at the future of Nigeria. All of this, how accountable this public servants and people we've trusted with our commonwealth have been in managing what we've committed to them in trust. And that's the first question, conversation. Citizens demanding real accountability from their elected officials.
And still on the state of the polity, but this time, as it has to do with agriculture, we'll be discussing the urgent need for targeted investment and policy reforms to address hunger and strengthen Nigeria's agricultural future.
From food to life, or at least the process of birthing life. It's an often neglected conversation because we just assume that everybody will find their way around it. But today on the show, we do something very different as we focus on pregnancy. We'll be discussing the journey of motherhood, the mental, emotional, and the physical aspects. We're leaving no stone unturned with this conversation on the show this morning. Bukala, I'm sure you're excited.
Well, not as excited as I would have been a few years back. I'm quite done with that process, but I'm excited for the others. Well, speaking of the next now, on a lighter note, we'll be heading to our musical roots with legendary Nigerian singer, songwriter, performer, Dr. Bongo Ikwue. That gets you excited, of course, whose music blends soul, folk, and African rhythms. So to taking you down memory lane this morning, you don't want to miss it.
All right, absolutely. I can't wait for that conversation with Bongo Ikwue, the legend himself. We'll be having that conversation with us this Friday. Come on, let's take it easy and calm things down. But there's a lot more on the program. We'll bring you up to speed with all of them, including our question for the day and the rest of the things we'll be doing. There's going to be a dance session as well with CJ. So everybody who likes to dance one form or the other, we're going to have an exciting time. So if you have your gym gear, well, get ready for it. It's going to be time to move that body. I didn't say body.
I'm so looking forward to seeing Jeffrey doing this particular
I'm not a great dancer. So quick disclaimer ahead of time. Okay, I'm gifted to talk, not to dance. Okay, so at least I have a gift.
Well, Kade will also be doing some dancing from Abuja.
Absolutely. So, hey.
Absolutely.
All right.
So there's a lot to look forward to this morning. But in the meantime, we'll begin the program. We'll set things in motion with what's trending this morning. What are you saying about some of the big stories? Let's start with, what seems to have dominated headlines this week, and that has to do with, people who ran into troubled waters with their investment in that, scheme, CBEX, for which the EFCC has been speaking a lot about lately. So what are you saying about this one? CBEX resumes operations despite SEC ban, and 1.2 trillion naira EFCC probe. What are the authorities doing? How come they have the audacity to resume operations? AfroConnect is the first user this morning who says, say what you want, but CBEX bouncing back with fresh withdrawal options shows resilience. Let's see if they can regain trust and actually deliver this time. But what about those who had their funds merged when the scheme crashed? What happens to them? And who are there people still investing in the scheme even now after that experience? Let's go to the next user this morning.
All right, so yesterday one of the things that happened was but let's take another user and then we go to the next line of thought. Glory Duke says this was exactly the same template MMM used. Watch and rinse. Okay, watch and rinse. Is it wash you wanted to say? And serve it again. Nigerians will be there to eat it all up and get burnt again. So I've always said that issues around CBEX and this, you know, Ponzi schemes, as they call them, referred to by the government, is simply a situation of, you know, scooping fuel from falling tanker. The more you say, the more they don't listen. Kayode.
Oh, yes, Jeffrey. Now, these are reports from some of the users, according to the Punch, made some findings about this. So we'll still follow through, see how this plays out, really. You see the next user saying that if the fresh withdrawal option requires any form of additional payment or investment, please run. That money will still go. Yes, the EFCC is investigating, has gotten a court warrants to make arrests. In fact, they had put pictures out of people who are, you know, allegedly involved in all of this. So is that enough well, deterrent for people? Well, we've seen this happen time and again. I doubt it. But he who has ears, hopefully they can hear loud and clearly.
Okay,
guys.
So, yeah, there are a couple of videos or visuals we'll bring to you just to show you some of the things that you've been trending, you've been watching on trend. This has to do with Newcastle players eating our very own fufu. Kola, what is fufu in English?
Processed cassava with heat, through heat here.
Okay, so
there are two variations of our fufu, by the way.
I didn't say you should start cooking. I just want the fufu. Calm down.
Let me talk about the variations.
Wait,
there's akpu, the ones that the Igbos make, and there's the normal fufu that is made in this southern part of the country. But it's a delicious delicacy that goes very well with okra, afang, fisherman soup.
Bukola, wait, so which is it Igbo or Yoruba fufu that they are eating now?
This looks like akpu. Akpu is the one that looks more, you know, that tilts more towards the yellowish color. That looks more like akpu. But Kayode, which fufu do you like? Do you prefer?
Well, I like the one that just fills my tummy. I know that Karim Adeyemi, the German player, has been on and on about how fufu helps him to deliver as a player and all of that. You might know Karim Adeyemi, the Dortmund player, right? So I think a lot of other football players are taking the cue that if Karim Adeyemi is eating fufu and is performing well, that fufu, we need to dismantle it, and it's good to see, guys.
It's great, it's great. Because I used to eat fufu, by the way. You have the next one. I don't eat it anymore.
It's delightful to watch, and that's food tourism, by the way. Let's go to this next one, and I'm so surprised about this one. We saw a video of a Reverend sister filmed DJing at an event. So let's have that first, and then we'll come and take your thoughts.
So that's the Reverend Sister showing skills on the DJ console. What do you think?
Well, I'm first off, this looks like not Nigeria. I'm not sure, but I think is this Kenya or something. Said that the name is Jane Francis, I believe, DJing. Hey, well, nothing precludes you from, you know, doing some of these things if it's something you find joy doing. Absolutely. If it's something that even is able to draw people closer, right? I mean, it's great to see. Naturally, this has gotten a lot of mixed reactions. They'll say to every man, in this case to every none, her own. But if it gives you joy, if you're not harming others, and if it helps to pass the message across, way to go.
All right, so let's move to the next one. Davido's wife, Chioma, celebrated her 30th birthday, and there were surprises from cars to guest appearances and all of that. So you can see whenever Davido is doing anything with his wife, Chioma, Chef Chi, it's always a big headline. So I think you bought her a new car, you know. And she turned 30 actually, not 3. Okay, so this is the unveiling of the, I don't know which brand of car is this. Wow. It's a beautiful one. So this is a happy 30th birthday. You know, when they say tear rubber, you know, when you got money, these are really nothing. It's good to have money, you know.
This is so beautiful.
But it's just beautiful that he loves his wife.
So beautiful to watch.
And he celebrates her at every opportunity he has. So it's a beautiful 30 for her. Congratulations and happy birthday to her.
And you know, the couple have been through so much.
Yes, they've been through hell and warm waters.
You know, they weathered the storm and they chose to stick together. And we hope that they celebrate a lot more beyond this beautiful 30th birthday surprise for Davido's wife,
Fantastic.
Chef Chioma.
Chef Chi.
So,
yes.
done with trends now.
Yes, so we'll be, just one moment, I'll bring the headlines. Welcome back. So let's get to the dailies, where we get to look at the papers, what they're saying early hours of the morning. Guardian is where we get things started up from. The big headline on the Guardian, as expected after yesterday's Tinubu Labour clash on economy, as NLC TUC push workers' demands. Tinubu Labour clash on economy, as NLC TUC push workers' demands. Page 6 of the Guardian newspaper is where you see and get to read exactly what this headline is really talking about. They are demanding for wage review because if you look at when they were paid $30,000, it's almost the same thing in dollar terms right now. Now that it has been increased by over 100% to 70,000. Some are even paying 77, some are paying 75, and all of that. But because of the floating of the naira and the policies of government, you know, the naira has really lost its value to a very large extent. So they initially had started from 600 and something thousand, they went to 250, and finally they got to 70. Perhaps this time they'll be pushing for more as far as this is concerned. Just before we leave the Guardian, just beneath that is the FG probing student loan disbursement as Nel Fund welcomes scrutiny. The ICPC has made some investigation, found out that based on account receivables and disbursement, there are discrepancies. And so the ICPC is investigating. We're going to have that conversation sometime next week, but that's a good read as well. You can go to page 3 of the Guardian newspaper to get to read what's inside that story.
Well, for Blueprint newspaper this morning, it chooses to a different path with the headline. But of course, the May Day celebration is also captured beneath. But let's take a look at the headline first. Customs intercepts 912 billion naira contrabands, high-tech drones, medicals. Of course, we've seen the DG of the Customs Service raising the alarm about the increasing rate of smuggling of these contraband goods, high-tech drones, medicals. I believe there's also codeine in that mix as well, and they've been doing a job of work intercepting these goods. But then again, we must also speak to the challenges of personnel and, of course, ungoverned spaces, porous borders need the work of the Customs Service and other sister security agents as they, continue this. The purpose may be defeated if those issues are not addressed. But take a look at the one at the bottom of the picture on the front page, which is, a recap of May Day celebrations from yesterday. NLC to FG at May Day review policy reforms amend laws on civic engagement. There were concerns, raised yesterday about the lack of safety in the civic space, both online and offline, and that's an ongoing conversation. That's it for the Blueprint newspaper this morning.
All right, let's turn our attention to the Vanguard newspaper. But just before that, let me clarify that the video of the non-DJing is not from Kenya. It's not. It's actually from Nigeria, just to be clear. All right, it's from DJ Ekobaba. That's, I think, the set. So, yeah, not Kenya, Nigeria. But the Vanguard newspaper has this as a big story. May Day, of course, hunger, unemployment, insecurity real. That's coming from President Tinubu on May Day. Oh, so what next is a question, right? Let's see if they explain us to this. Promises to address challenges, strengthen labor protections. Labor calls for an end to bloodletting, state tyranny, poverty wages. Hands government 20-point demand. Now, what are those demands? Well, inside pages of the Vanguard newspaper, but I'll tell you, they're seeking justice, pro-people economic reform, democratic accountability, and the rest. And there's also a statement from Atiku Abubakar saying FG must recognize workers as key partners. So the May Day commemoration, or celebrations as the case may be, still dominates the front pages with, well, some of those demands still being made. How well will they be met by state, federal? We wait to find out. But maybe on a lighter note, let me show you what Mr. and Mrs. has to say today. So the Vanguard has a cartoon section at the bottom right of the front page called Mr. and Mrs. And you see Mr. Telling Mrs. that I went there to buy touchscreen laptop. I had to call the attention of one of the sales girl. And Mrs. looks at Mr. and says, not by touching her, it's touch screen, not touch skin. So it's important to reiterate this for men. Respect your boundaries. That's it with the Vanguard newspaper this morning.
Okay. All right, fantastic. So let's get to this day newspaper. This Nigeria, I should say, this Nigeria. Okay, I'm trying to get to that paper as soon as, yes. Mahmuda terror group growing fast in Middle Belt. Labour tells federal government. So Mahmuda is a terror group that we heard of around the Kwara region recently, and it's been raising concern where they've been wreaking havoc in that sense. So we understand that their growth in that sense is causing concern, which should, because we're not done with Boko Haram, we're not done with ISWAP, we're not done with Lakrawa. Now adding another terrorist group. It's just, I don't know what it is with Nigeria and the evolution, emergence of terror group time and again on our soil. So this is a call to government by Labour to ensure that we don't get into more crisis, one of which can be food crisis, because the Middle Belt is a major part of our food belt, especially places like Benue, where it's called the food basket of the nation. So we hope the government takes this so you can get to the inner pages of this Nigerian newspaper to find out exactly details of that story. Okay, we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we'll get to the very first conversation for the day. We're going to be joined by a legal practitioner who at some point had caused a stir at the Supreme Court because of his attire. But hey, he's here to talk about everything, literally, and anything. As a lawmaker, as a legal practitioner. Join us in just a moment. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Let's talk about the state of the nation, Nigeria, and how citizens can better position themselves to hold the elected accountable. It's midterm. So we are simply saying it's 2 years down the line, officially in the month of May, since those who were inaugurated on May the 29th, 2023, came into power and assumed office. So how well and how good they fared. By next month, we'll be talking about the members of the National Assembly and members of the House of Assembly who were inaugurated as well. But we've been joined in the program by legal practitioner Chief Malcolm Omirobo. He joins us right here in our Lagos studio. Chief, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thanks for having me.
I think that one of the best ways I think is great to start when we are assessing how well or not anyone is doing is to get your overview. So let's start with President Bola Tinubu. It's not hidden some of the steps he took that brought us where we are. Flotation of the Naira, removal of fuel subsidy, part removal of subsidy from electricity, or in that sense, I can go on, and the government will come and reel out some of the gains of those reforms, such as FX reserve, such as NEL funds, such as debt to revenue ratio, and the least, more revenue accruing to state, record high in terms of Naira terms. Those are the least. But on the other hand, the flip side is that Nigerians are in deeper pain today than they've been in a very long time, and businesses are shutting down, people are struggling. But generally, if you were to ask your assessment of President Bola Tinubu after 2 years in office, what would it be?
I must start first by saying that when he took over, the economy was in shambles. Buhari really did a bad job. For 8 years, Buhari took us 100 years back. For Tinubu, I personally, it's my opinion, he's just marking time. He's marking time. We've not moved anywhere. Nigeria is floating. That's the truth. Nigeria is floating. You talk in the papers, or you write in the papers, or your ministers, they come and say, oh, especially Edu and Kadusu, they come and tell you, oh, the Naira is gaining this, that, the economy is the fourth fastest growing economy in the world. It's all paper. You don't see it on the ground. There is pain, there is hunger. There's no productivity, that's the word. One of the indices I would use to, here in Lagos, that I would use to score this administration a pass mark is when I go to Wharf, and I go to Ijora, and I go to the Oshodi-Apapa Expressway, and Ilupeju. Those are industrial estates where you have the industries. I grew up in Lagos. I knew what those places stood for. They stood for, you know, where people are gainfully employed, they earn a living and all that. If you go there, those places are being taken over by churches, event centers, hoodlums. Nothing is happening. Nothing is happening. So economically, the government has been rash in taking steps. For instance, the removal of subsidy. Which other one again?
The floating of the
Naira. Tinubu just treats Nigerians like patients, operating on them without aesthetics, without giving them injection anesthesia, sorry, without giving them pain relieving injections. You just bring them to the theater and butcher them and say, oh, stitch them up and say, oh, fine, you're looking good. Okay, move, jump. Let's see whether you're okay. We've done well. He's too rash. He's not taking it step by step. He's not real. That's the truth. He's not real. So I will not score this government any pass mark. In terms of economic gain, I will not deceive anybody, and I will not deceive myself especially. Nigeria is not doing well. We are pretending until one day we will just wake up and see that we will collapse. There's nothing happening. The government is not doing anything. And what pains me most is that the government put people around him who don't tell him what is really happening, like the Boalas, like the Keyamos, like the Edu, Kadosu, you know, all these propagandists, people, they just start telling you every time. In fact, the only reason why anybody will remain in the cabinet of Tinubu is when you can tell lies, when you can come to the public, keep a straight face and tell lies and say, oh, we are doing well. Every time the government is doing well, only on paper. We are not seeing anything on the ground.
They may be uncomfortable with you referring them to propagandists because they say they are doing their job in representing the government. But where my follow-up will be, but they are putting out, they said, the argument is to the effect that before it gets to the micro level, where it is you and I feeling better, is they say it has to start from that macro level, setting the reset of the economy. I'm putting out the argument of the government so that you can respond. So, okay, they came in, the FX, for instance, there were backlogs in terms of payment, and then if you look at all the subsidies that were supposed to be paid, from 6 in PMS, I think another 2 in electricity, and then there were a couple of backlogs. Everything came to about 21 trillion in that sense, and if you add the deficit, so the numbers are good, were not good. So they said if the Tinubu administration did not do what it did, the economy would have tanked by now, so they had to do a hard reset in that sense. So we should be patient that this is a temporary gain for a future gain, temporary pain rather for future gain. Does this argument and this narrative, does it make sense to you?
That's sweet nothing. You know, they like too much grammar. They want to confuse us. Look, if whether macro or micro, by now 2 years it will have been trickling down. You see, what pains me most is that they are not prudent. They are not prudent. An economy that is bleeding, you spend millions, several millions of naira to renovate the residence of the vice president. You spend several millions or billions of naira to refurbish the conference center. Who is going to conference center? Look at Akpabio's recent visit. You may say the money is small. It's not small. A 5-man delegate. Something that Akpabio could have gone alone. You have ambassadors around Europe there. You have Nigerian community. If he needs support, when he lands Rome, he can invite 1 or 2 ambassadors around that area, or even Nigerian dignitaries in Rome that will accompany them. Tell me how much we have saved. I dare Akpabio, you should tell us how much was the federal government should tell us how much Akpabio spent on that trip. So they are not showing signs of people who really feel our pain. They are not showing signs of that they are doing anything. They are not honest. All they are interested in. They are talking about just power. They are already talking about 2027, election to come back to power, when they have not even shown any sign of growing the economy or even stabilizing the economy. They have not shown any sign. So whatever they are telling you, macro, 2 years is enough for us to see the gains. 2 years is enough for us to start feeling it. Price of foods is going. The other day, I went to a fast food outlet. I discovered that I couldn't finish my meal, and I now paid for a pack, took it to the office. And when I was going home, because I'm not trained to waste food. I want to take it home, but there was vegetable inside it. I want to take it home, but unfortunately I forgot it on my table. I asked the next morning, I now called my secretary and said, but when I came back, I said, I hope you didn't eat that food because it must have become spoiled by that time you came. She said no, that she wanted to dispose it and somebody just grabbed it from her and started eating it. I felt so touched. I'm not saying even in America people don't eat from the dustbin or whatever, but it's not common in Nigeria. Growing up in Nigeria, it's not common. Everybody had enough. Everybody, the cleaner had enough. The policeman had enough. The Nigeria I grew up in. The lawyer, everybody had enough. Now people have nothing. People now feeding from dustbin, feeding life
We hope that those times that you speak of will return, but we tend to look at the federal government and, with less focus on the subnationals, where some activity is supposedly ongoing as well. And we could refer to savings from the policy of this administration, which is fuel subsidy removal. We could also even refer to the interventions that the federal government has provided at the onset of the Tinubu government, the 5 billion naira subsidy palliative fund released to state governors. 3 billion was the first part that was released. We could talk about 50% increase in allocations to the subnationals from subsidy savings. We could talk about 108 billion naira that the federal government released to the state governments as an intervention fund to tackle climate change challenges and other challenges as well. So what do you see, as what should be ongoing at the subnational level, to reduce the impact of the excruciating policies of this administration? Have they been judiciously, allocating budgets to the right sectors that need it for growth?
Well, like I said earlier on, the government made a very bad economy, and they are marking time. That's any mediocre mark time. Any mediocre, any reasonable, and the average, yes, below average. What they are doing is, we don't expect below average. We don't expect them to say we're doing our best. This is not what they told us. This is not their manifesto. You understand? Yes, they've provided all these things, but then there's no subsidy. Where are the SS? Definitely, they made so much money from us by removing the subsidy. I mean, when this government came to power, they had, fuel was about 200 and something per liter.
Less than 200.
Now we're buying 900. And so where are the SSs? Of course, definitely there will be money to do all these things. And for our sacrifice, we expect more. So where is the balance from this subsidy, all this sacrifice, diesel, kerosene, and all that? Where are the SSs? Okay. Now they meet up this, they give these allocations. Yes, I give it to them. They give these allocations. The issue is the follow-up. Are they judiciously utilized? Like the governors, for instance. Are these monies judiciously utilized? So these are the issues. They need to be follow-up. It's not when there's a small problem, you go and create a state of emergency. Follow-up these things. You're the federal government.
All right, let's look at what would be the options to the people if, the performance of the elected representatives is non-satisfactory. And I'm talking, this gale of defections that we're witnessing now. Even governors are defecting, and we've been told that there may be more defections in that space. But look at the National Assembly. We now have about 65 APC senators, 33 PDP senators. I wonder if we still have senators from the other smaller parties. Let's look at the impact of that. Talk to us about the impact of that on policy and governance, with the APC dominating, and with the possibility of more defections to the APC, and especially against the backdrop of the case of Ikwue against the Attorney General of the Federation, which now applies to legislators at the federal level, that sort of gives them the go-ahead to defect as against legislators at the State Assembly. Does that precedent, is it appropriate in the light of the current circumstances, where we may be having a challenge of having a Senate that dominates, the ruling party dominating the National Assembly?
Well, talking about this mass deflection, defection from other parties, particularly PDP and Labour Party, to APC. Well, legally speaking, on the normal level, governors or lawmakers are permitted to defect from their party to other parties, but there must be good reasons why. Now, why are the question you ask, why are they defecting from their party to APC? Is it based on ideology? Is it based on principle? Is it based on that the government is doing well? Is it based on the interest of the people who gave them the mandate? When you look at all these things, you discover that the basic reason why they are defecting is fear. Most of these governors, like my state governor, Delta State, they moved massively, or en masse, to PDP, APC, about 2-3 days ago. I can tell you, I'm from that state, that it's not in the best interest, not for the interest of Deltans, it's for the interest of politicians who are trying to conceal their loots, who are afraid of prosecution. This government has failed in terms of their fight against corruption. And for them to gain public trust, corruption must be tackled. And this government is corrupt. I mean, there are a lot of corrupt people there. Or will I say people who have allegedly, defrauded their state. Akpabio is one of them.
Allegedly?
Allegedly, I said allegedly, yes. You know, many of them. So they have not been able to follow. So these people are coming, even Okowa and Co. They are coming there to hide, because there's a popular saying in Nigerian political landscape that once you come to River ABC and you are baptized there, all your sins are forgiven. So people are not deflecting based on ideology. They are deflecting based on personal interest, fear of being prosecuted, and they will be covered. Definitely.
I'll call it Kayode. I have some questions for you from Abuja. Kayode.
Perhaps to just follow up on what you said just previously. What proof or what conviction do you have as a legal practitioner to back up that allegation? Because it's okay to say allegedly, but sometimes so people understand also where you're coming from, the context. Perhaps you have proof and convictions as it concerns the courts to back that up for the benefit of Nigerians.
On the particular character or person I mentioned, Akpabio, like I said, allegedly, and it's been reported severally, that EFCC have a case file on him, even when he was about to be appointed or was elected a senator, and they were screening him for Senate position of Senate President. EFCC came out with they were going to arrest him. So I don't know how that was swept under the carpet. So I'm not here to prove. Hold on. I'm not here to prove. I'm not in a law court. I said allegedly, and I'm quoting. I can defend it based on EFCC's will I say investigation, which was being carried out, and there were petitions from his state. What can be more? There are petitions from his state. Even forget about that. Hold on. Let me land. Let us even go to the issue when he was the chairman of NDDC, or what do you call it, Niger Delta Development. He looted that place blue and black. I can say that. Have you forgotten the off the microphone scenario in the Senate when the allegation was levied against him, and he was not telling the lawmakers who he gave contract. I saw that myself. He told one of the lawmakers told them, "It's enough of the speaker. What can be more than that?" Is it only Akpabio? There are many of them there. In fact, the National Assembly is a home for not retired, looters.
Allegedly, sir.
Allegedly. If you want, if you invite me on another program, invite me on another occasion,
it's okay.
And on this issue, invite me again, and I will give you all those things. I will write to FCC I will bring
if you can
all
hear
those
me,
things to you.
Mr. Amirobo, if you can hear me.
I can.
So you said there are others, and it's important to speak in the context. That's why I said, what are the convictions to back this up? Because you can't say someone is guilty until there's
I didn't say they are guilty.
You know that too well. So who, you said in matter of fact, so who are the others that you know about? What is the context? What is the proof as well? So we can lay all the cards on the table.
Well, I have told you, and I maintain that in the National House of Assembly, where you have in fact, all the ex-governors that are there, I can say confidently that they are allegedly corrupt and they have skeleton in their cupboard and they need to be investigated and prosecuted if this government is serious, but it will never happen. All the ex-governors, all the former, even those who are, who have served as, or who are still serving as senators, House of Reps, who are there today, they are also allegedly corrupt. I'm telling you categorically, I won't mention names, but I am telling you categorically that the National House of Assembly is a home for, I won't say, if I use the word criminals now, you will say I've said something that is not allegedly. Allegedly, people who have looted this country. Allegedly, people who are responsible for our suffering today. I can tell you that our suffering today is being caused by the ex-governors. All the ex-governors. Where are all the monies they gave them?
Right.
Like, okay, my state governor, for instance, he is not there. But for instance, he has not been able to account for our revenue derivative allocation every month. He has not been able to. He has not been able to. Our internet generated revenue, he has not been able to account for them for 8 years. He has a case of 1 point something trillion naira on his head right now.
All right, let me put this in quickly so we can touch on other point. So would you also say the judiciary, as you put it, is allegedly corrupt? The bar, the bench is allegedly corrupt as well? Because we've heard that time and again.
You're correct, because it's not me. There's a report. I can't recall the exact report now. There's a report that said the Nigerian judiciary is fantastically corrupt. I am not saying I said so. There's a report on that. And I'm not saying that they are not good judiciary officers, I mean judges. I'm not saying they are not good, but we have bad eggs, like in every other organization. So the lawmakers, the judiciary, the executive, I say categorically that they don't try.
Okay, so let's try to round off as quickly as possible. First is, what do you expect the citizens to do? Because that's a fundamental question.
Before then,
if in your books, judiciary has a question to answer, the National Assembly has a question to answer, all of these guys have a question to answer, and which is what has brought us here. Some have been convicted, some have not been convicted, some have not been tried, and all of that. What should the citizens do? Because we're the ones that are suffering at the end of the day.
The citizens, of course, which I'm part of, I feel sorry for us because we have been, like somebody said, that we've been hypnotized. We're in trouble because our votes don't count. If after spending 100 billion, 900 billion,
no, not up to that.
Then, as at that time, for the last
elections.
Yes.
About 300.
No, billion.
Yes.
Okay, 300 billion. And somebody comes to tell me that because of some glitches, we cannot assess our result on real time. Then you now go and start collating. In this modern time, we stand no chance. We stand the electorate, but I will still appeal that they should not give up, or we should not give up. We should pick up our PVC, vote, and defend it to the best of our ability. But we are fighting against I mean, we are fighting against, our situation is precarious.
All right, all right.
And the only thing that may result is a spontaneous revolution, which is going to be disastrous for us. It's going to be catastrophic for everybody.
And that's another matter entirely.
Yes.
But when you say the judiciary is allegedly corrupt, the lawmakers are allegedly corrupt,
Yes,
there are those who defend them, which is lawyers who defend them in court. So I'm wondering if you agree also that your constituency is also allegedly corrupt. But let's recall, this would be a good time to recall your advocacy in court sometime further down back, maybe 2 years ago, when you went to court rather in traditional attire. We'll take that and then we'll come back to you for your reaction.
Okay, so what we're saying is this is just coming on a lighter note. So what informed, because I know that I think, is it Justice Ikwue now? Is it John Okoro? I've forgotten one of the justices.
Okoro.
John Okoro was the presiding judge at the Supreme Court, and then they showed up for proceedings. And this is you.
Yeah.
Looking like what Nigerians would call a native doctor, combining traditional attire with your legal attire in that sense, or lawyer's attire, and then the Honorable Justice had to abandon proceeding. What were you trying to achieve with this?
Well, they're just trying to make a point that I disagree with the judgment of the Supreme Court. Justice Okoro was right in his dissenting judgment that you don't mix religion with state. And I have a case coming up next month challenging the former Inspector General of Police changing the uniform of Nigerian police women to for them to use hijab. We're in court already on that, and we're still protesting because, to me, Nigeria is a secular state. Nigeria anything government or state should be devoid of religion. I can be a traditionalist, you can be a Muslim, the other person can be a Christian, and all that. Let's live in peace. When you get to your work, keep all your. How would you feel if I came here and I would tortoise on my neck, beads everywhere, then what do you call it, palm wrap or whatever, and I come and looking, I mean, to you, I look
like a native doctor.
Like a native doctor, and you will be scared, you won't sit down. And somebody's putting a hijab, and the other person is putting a aladura cap. The other person, how is it going to?
So this was you making a statement that leave religion out of.
Yes, and I'm saying that the judgment, in a way, that's not the best way to protest as a lawyer, but as a citizen.
Okay.
Protest that.
Were there consequences for what you did? Were you reprimanded?
By the bar.
I was sued. I was Murik. Report.
No, I'm talking about the bar, not.
Okay, Muri. No, it took me to disciplinary committee that, and I told him there's no basis for his complaint, and the bar knew I didn't do anything.
So there was no consequence.
No consequence.
All right, Chief Malcolm Omirobo is a legal practitioner and like a literal outlier in that sense of what you did there, just to make your point. But we must thank you for coming on the program.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Happy. Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get to the next leg of the conversation.
Welcome back. It's still the morning brief right here on Channels Television. And from the polity and happenings within the leadership space, we head to food security, which is a consequence of leadership decisions. Let's look at how effective budgeting for food security has been so far, either at the national or the subnational level. And joining us on this conversation is Mr. Daniel Oladoja. He's a public policy analyst, crop protection expert, agronomist, strategic communications expert, green innovator, amongst other things. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
So before we even begin to look at budgets to agriculture, let's look at what seems to be unsettling and maybe a consequence of the budgets in the last 2 years under this government. The World Bank's Pulse report, Africa Pulse report, from that was released rising from the IMF spring meetings recently. It says many more Africans will be thrust into poverty by year 2027, and a bulk of that number is in this sub-region, and the population of Africa in the region. The poverty is projected to grow by 3.2%, thrusting more into poverty by 2027. Talk to us about how, lack of activity in the agriculture space may be contributing to that number.
Thank you so much. I think to start with, you'd want to, for an average listener, the question is, what's the relationship between agriculture and poverty? And why would a rise in poverty show that something is maybe off in agriculture? I think if you take Nigeria as a case study, and this is the truth, is that despite all the growth we've had in other sectors and all the improvements we've seen across other industries, agriculture still remains the highest employer of labor in Nigeria. I think it's about, the last time I checked, please don't quote me, I'm not sure, you can fact check this, it's about 7-something% of complete, labor. And so everything that happens within the agricultural sector affects output in the economy. It means that if more people are growing and planting stuff, that's active employment for them. Now, if that number drops or significantly declines, it means that more people don't have jobs, more people don't have money in their pockets, more people don't have food on their table, and that's directly related to the poverty index, right? So the real goal is, if we're unable to keep people on the farm, if we're unable, and I don't mean that in a bad way, it just means that if people are unable to do what they know how to do, in this case agriculture, the next thing is hunger, poverty, and famine, and displacement.
Now, many groups have raised concerns about the allocation to agriculture in the 2025 budget, saying it leaves much to be desired. But is it really a matter of allocation to the budget, or a matter of judicious or lack of judicious allocation to that budget?
I think that the way I would respond to this is to say, where you put your money is where your heart is. I think that's a phrase, right? And so if you're parroting about tackling food insecurity or driving food production, and what you're allocating to agricultural development is a paltry sum and afterthought, it then means that you're not serious about it. Take, for instance, in Nigeria today, there are just about 45,000 tractors.
In the whole of the country?
In the whole of the country, 45,000 tractors. What we need is roughly about 80,000 to start with. An average farmer in the US has a tractor, an harvester, a planter to himself. So if we as a country are talking about 45,000 tractors, we're not even talking about those owned by farmers themselves. We're still talking about the ones that are owned by cooperatives, government initiatives. There's going to be a flag off in Katsina, I think in Katsina or Zamfara, where at the mechanization center, I think sometimes this week or next week by the president, and the tractors there are basically for that center, not for the farmers. We have to be able to grow. We have to be able to finance agriculture to the point where an average farmer can be where they used to be in the past, where an average farmer has a mule, has a donkey, has all of that to himself to produce, right? So if we're allocating budgetarily, we need to be thinking about driving agricultural inputs forward significantly to a threshold, and also compel the private sector, look for initiatives to unlock financing from the private sector. Because, to be honest with you, agriculture, the way we've usually done it, the peasant style, sustainability-wise, that's nice for people who want to talk about green agriculture and all of that. But if you're talking about serious hunger, pushing it down and driving costs down, we need to really, really ramp up mechanization. And that would mean critical investment in those critical infrastructure.
So let's look at some interventions that will come from you as far as proposals for the policymakers is concerned. So agriculture, for as long as I can remember, is the biggest contributor to our GDP, double-digit 24%. But about 24, 26, it ranges, fluctuates in that range. But what is very concerning is not the chunk it gives for every Qs, whether Q1, Q2, Q3 of any year. Is a year-on-year. We've seen very marginal growth. I mean, as marginal as sometimes 1%, 1.2 year-on-year. That means something is wrong. And the quick one we can look at are things like insecurity and all of that, which we've touted around. But if you were to propose, because they've also said they declared a state of emergency in agriculture. What does that even mean? What does it mean? What should it mean? And what should be the outcome? That's my question.
I don't want to get into politics even though I'm talking
just speak as a professional.
But side by side, the state of emergency in Rivers State and the state of emergency in agriculture. Those are two states of emergencies, right? In one case, a new administrator was brought forward. In one case, it was just a policy statement. And that's usually where it ends for some of these things. If you're declaring a state of emergency in agriculture, and I'm immediately hearing that a 500 billion fund has been rolled out to back that, that is a serious state of emergency, right? If you're summoning all the governors to Abuja for an emergency meeting on agriculture, and you're unlocking new funds for just procurement of seedlings and fertilizers and tractors, that is a state of emergency. It means that you're backing that state of emergency declaration with action that is bold, that is brave, and that is comprehensive. And talking about policy recommendations, I have always believed that Nigerian governors get away with too much. If you're going to talk about the budget now, you're going to quote me the budget allocation from the federal. What's the budget allocation for agriculture in Lagos, in Kebbi, in Osun State, in Ogun State?
Precisely. And are we tracking those budgets enough? Are farmers doing diligence to track those budgets enough? Because farmer groups come up every now and then to criticize or lament the shortfall in federal allocations to the agriculture sector. But what about the state budgets? What are the farmers doing to engage the subnationals to demand more allocation to agriculture?
I want to talk about something. It's the death of advocacy in our country. I think as a country we've become, and I don't know where this came from, and I'm not canvassing for revolutionary stuff or protests. I'm just saying that people should be more intolerant of inadequacies and lapses in governance. Something like the Agbekoya protest that happened whenever that happened, that people still talk about today, was a group of farmers standing up to what they thought was an unfair policy. If farmers in Oyo State, for instance, march all the way from Mishenyi to Ibadan and from Okeogun and all of those places to this federal secretariat in Ibadan, just to demand for a change, do you think the governor would go to bed? If that happens in Kebbi and in Katsina and in Maiduguri and in all those places, if people become very, very vocal, I don't mean send your representatives whom will then be, taken care of in some ways. I'm talking about mass mobilizations to demand for change. I think the state governors will sit up. But as long as we continue to use this model of representation, people going to meet them to negotiate for you, we're not going to see change.
Besides protests, how else can we convince governors? So we look at all the spheres. Now, this is how politicians in Nigeria process development. Roads, first and foremost. So it's not agriculture they are looking at first. So they'll ask you, how many schools did you build? How many hospitals did you build? How many roads did you construct? And all of these things that are tangible that everybody can see. Because farms are far away from, it's on the countryside and all of that. But we're suffering the impact of food insecurity. What else can we do from where you sit as an expert in this field, besides protests, to say, look, let's face agriculture once and for all and see how far we can go?
I think it's a lack of appreciation for what that sector can do, right? It's the fact that we don't understand that in some climes the richest people are farmers. And when you look at the legacy of people like late Power Bafemi Awolowo and all of that, those were men that understood what the potential of that sector. And it was a comprehensive steps they took that made outputs from cocoa and all of that move significantly high and, to where it was at the time. So what can we do? Number one is in the policy cycle, the first thing is agenda setting. And what makes the agenda is what is talked about, right? So if you want something to be on the agenda of the government, because there are competing priorities that every government has, road and all of that, they also want to remain in office, so they have to do things that are visible. But I think we need to understand first is, and this is to the politicians, trust me, in every administration, when people don't have to worry about food and their stomach, there are three priorities: shelter, food, and I think transportation and all of that. When people don't have to worry about their stomach, as the Yorubas will say, that means that if hunger is out of the equation, poverty is half solved. When people don't have to worry about what they put in their stomach, there's a high chance that you're going to get reelected. So if your goal is to remain in power, if your goal is to retain power or to maintain dominance in the political space, solve the problem that is closest to the people. The closest to the people is their stomach. Let people have food in their stomach, and you will have enough time to sit there, do politics, rule for as long as you want or as the Constitution allows you, right? Keep your party in power. So it's understanding the gains in food security that's what I think the government needs to understand. And for that to happen, we need to see this at a very comprehensive way of not just sending policies from Abuja, but creating policies that draws into the business sector, right? There are big companies that we have in Nigeria, a lot of them. If we create a policy that mandates them to contribute, just like we did with roads, now companies are building roads.
Yeah, from what you have said, perhaps what we need is a mindset change from the executives, that governance, the measure of impactful governance goes beyond the building of bridges and roads to critical investment in agriculture and seeing agriculture as a business. We must thank you very much, Mr. Daniel Oladoja. He's a public policy analyst, crop protection expert, agronomist, strategic communication expert, amongst other things. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you so much.
And from here, we move on to another interesting conversation about another aspect of life, mental health, particularly for women during that critical stage of their life. Stay with us for this one. We'll be right back. Welcome back. And so Kayode said earlier that most of us have arrived here, but how many of us actually think about what it took for us to arrive here? So we're going to spend some very important 10 minutes reflecting on that. And to help us in our reflection is a mental health coach. She's a founder and lead self-discovery coach, mental health advocate. She's right here in our Lagos studio, and she's Mrs. Modupe Nebedum.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Now,
thank you for inviting me.
Mental health is very, very broad. And I'm just curious why you decided to narrow your lens to a specific area of mental health, which is mental health for expectant mothers.
Okay. I have 5 kids.
5?
Yeah.
You're strong.
I had 5 kids in the space of 6 years.
Okay, explain.
That's 10 kids.
So it's like emotional roller coaster. It was a lot, and I have a set of twins in those 5 kids. Scan didn't pick it. Scan only picked 1. So it was at birth that I got to know that,
and you look amazing, by the way. You don't look like 5 have come out.
Thank you. So, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot. So I could tell I couldn't go out, alone, and that was not the plan. I had planned that, okay, I can still go out with my baby, but now I can't go out alone. I have to breastfeed 2 babies at the same time. It was a whole lot. It was even at that morning, we had to go and buy baby clothes because we didn't know I was going to have 2 babies. And then, so having gone through all I went through, at some point I had to stop working because I was into coconut processing. I had to stop working. It was a lot. Initially, it was a struggle. Like, I didn't want the business to go low, and I'm also trying to balance home front responsibility. But at some point, I just had to say, let me choose myself. I can't give what I don't have. Like, I'm not in the right state. I'm not there for my kids. I'm not there for my business. So, I mean, it's a lose-lose at both ends. So I needed to just choose myself, find myself, and then take care of myself so that I can be there for my family, and at the same time, I can be there for my business. So this made me go, in fact, this is what birth Heal and Sparkle, where I work with married women who feel lost and stuck to rediscover who they are. Because pregnancy, motherhood comes with a whole lot, and there's no manual for this thing until it happens. That's when you know. Even if you read books, if you get yourself informed, it's only when it happens that you can find out. I didn't plan I was going to have 5 kids, even in the space of 6 years. So it was back to back. People who knew me, it's either I'm pregnant or nothing, pregnant or nothing. I knew people who say all sorts in this economy. Is there no family planning? Different things. I went to a restaurant one day, a Chinese restaurant, and I was going in with my children, and someone was like, 1, 2, 3. Do you get? So you face a whole lot of things. Sometimes it's as if the ground should just open and swallow you up. So there's so many things that, and of course, I still look so good. So it's like, she's fine, she's okay. But what are the thoughts going on in my head? How am I thinking what people are saying? At some point, I don't go out because the stress of even dressing up for the children, going out and coming back, I don't even want to think about it. So my social network was practically on zero.
Let's give our viewers a mental picture of what having 5 kids in 6 years looks like. So that means that the first is probably less than a year older than the second.
Yeah, she was 2. She was almost 2 when the second came.
The second is probably less than a year older than the third, and like that.
It was the same space, yeah.
So did you at any time fall into postpartum depression?
Yeah, I did, but at that time, depression wasn't really out there like it is now, and then the mantra, all I keep telling myself is that, okay, God is not going to give me more than what I can handle, especially when I had the twins, and then I fell sick after I had them. It was a lot, and that was when I understood, when in this part of the world, when you give birth, they always tell you, they will pray that, oh, the sickness that comes after childbirth, may you not experience it, and we just say amen. It was when I fell ill, I understood the meaning of that prayer, because I didn't even want to see those kids. It was just like they should just go away. It was the things we look at, in quotes, we say it's a white man's disease. It's now here. We are now experiencing it. So I think that was what just helped me. For me, it was just like, okay, if God gave me this, I can handle it, and I took it a step at a time. But it wasn't easy.
Pardon me
Sorry, I know you women want to continue talking, so we're here for the moral support.
Yeah.
I can't process what you're dealing with, to be very honest. I don't think any man out there who has a conscience, we're just looking at you like, oh, wow, how did she survive this? Because a child is a lot.
Yeah.
Then having 5 in 6 years, I don't even know how to describe it. So one of the things you're going to do to help women is to advise on what to do and not to do when it comes to childbearing. The reason is simple: for your life's sake, for your mental health's sake. Because I'm happy you were vulnerable to say, look, I literally lost myself at some point. I didn't want to see these kids. Because those are things people don't talk about.
Yeah.
It looks like you hate the children. No, there's too much pressure. So talk to us about what should and should not be done.
Okay, first I would say get yourself informed. That's very important, so that when you're going through those emotions, you can understand what you're going through and then be able to accept it. It's at the point of acceptance that you can now begin to seek for help and then speak out. Like I told you, I didn't want to see those kids. I needed to choose myself at some point because the business, family, like everything was falling apart. So I just had to tell myself, okay, no, enough is enough. I can't continue going on like this. And then when I did that, that was when I decided, okay, what next? How do I get help? And I went for therapy. And when I went for therapy, it became better. So I needed to reconnect back to myself. So I would say, get yourself informed, accept your reality, and then seek for help.
Before I throw it back to Bukola,
yeah.
There's another angle. If I don't ask, I will not forgive myself. Support from your partner. How critical was that? Support
from a partner. Yeah, he was there. He was very there. He helps out. Sometimes he does the cooking. Tell me sorry. Sometimes he tell me take it easy. You're not a superhero. Just relax. So he was there. He was there for me. I had support from friends, from families. My mom was around. I had that support. Yeah, but
and that was what I was going to ask. If you had that support, why was it inadequate to help, particularly when you had the twins and it was too much for you to deal with emotionally and mentally? Why was it inadequate?
Yeah, for me, like I said, all through the 9 months, I didn't know I was going to have twins. So nothing prepared me for multiple births. I didn't know it was multiple births. Nothing prepared me. In fact, when I had, when the second one came out, it was looking so small and it was looking like skeleton, literally, that just had flesh. And at that moment, I lost hope when I saw it the way it was.
Oh, that's
in my head, I just told my husband. I mean, for you to know that this thing, it's what the thoughts that go on in our head is a lot. I just told my husband, don't tell anybody. At least nobody knew we were going to have twins. So in case this one dies, nobody will tell me, I don't want to die, sorry. That was what I said at that point in time. And then when they brought the baby to me, I was like, yeah, what's this? Because of the way the baby was looking. So nothing prepared me for it. And then every pregnancy is different. With my first, I was okay. But with the second, it was twins. I didn't prepare. I couldn't even eat. If I should stand up and walk from where I am to where he is, I'll start panting. So every pregnancy is different. And then even with the support, like I said, you are the one that knows what you are going through. They see you here, but the thoughts in your head. And then you're also trying to keep it together, to not say I'm weak, I'm vulnerable. It's like it's not pregnancy. People give birth. All of. And then one thing is that pregnancy these days, the support we have these days is not like the ones we have those days. Those days you literally not do anything when you give birth. You have more than enough people around. They will cook for you. They will wash your clothes, do your laundry. I mean, all you need to do is just to breastfeed the baby. But now, even with people around, you'll be surprised that you'll still be doing a lot of things. So that time for your body to fully heal and recover is not there like it used to be. And then, of course, the kind of foods they give you that time is fresh, herbs and all of that help your body to recover fully. But we don't have that like we used to.
So with the experience that you have now, having gone through this, what is your program like, your mental health program like for expectant mothers so that they can prepare for that big day of delivery?
Okay, so I'm in partnership with Mom at 40, though they focus more on pregnancy in early maternal stage, like 40 and above. But at the same time, they still reach out to other people. So I'm in partnership with them. So when we have them, we work together so that they can be informed, get the necessary help, counseling. So you have people, you have the community, you have people that can hold space for you. You can hear other people's stories and you know that, oh, I'm not in this alone. You can learn from other people. And then that's a lot.
Is it okay, because from what you said, because you also need to help people with your story. I hope you'll write a book, or if you have not written one already.
I've started already.
You should write a book because it's important. Is it okay to tell people that sometimes it's not everything you can figure out? Just leave.
Of course, it's okay. Just breathe. It's okay to be overwhelmed. It's okay to abandon everything and then take care of yourself. Self-care is important. Have your me time. Do what makes you happy. And then that's why you need that support, so that when you're going through this phase, they understand. Like, for example, you were asking me if my partner was there. He was there. And sometimes he will be the one telling me, just rest. You are not superhero. Just rest. Take care of yourself. So self-care is important. You can't even figure everything out, because pregnancy is not something, you can have your pregnancy plan, your birth plan and all of that, and then nothing on that list will work out. You won't even know how pregnancy will make you feel. There are things that you like doing before, you literally don't like it. You cry for no reason.
Yeah.
And then they're asking you, why are you crying? You can't tell. If I know why I'm crying, I mean, you can help me. If I have headache, you
God
can
bless
help
women.
me.
That's all I
But
can
when
say.
I don't even know what is wrong with me, how will you help? Sometimes, okay, let me share this. There was a day he was going to work and I was hungry. I didn't want to eat food from the house. I told him I wanted food from the restaurant, not even the tush one. And then when we were going, I was perceiving one jollof rice, one party jollof rice like that. And it was a 90-year-old burial. And the woman saw me and saw my plate and she was laughing. I don't know them. I just went there, got that rice, that jollof rice, that down pot. And I went back home, sat on the floor, and ate it with my hands. So that is what pregnancy does.
Can do. You'll be looking for food that is in Kenya, not in Nigeria. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for turning your experience into a strong message. We've been talking with Modupe Nebedum, founder and lead self-discovery coach, mental health advocate. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Thank you for inviting me.
There's more to come on the program. We've promised you something special. Stay with us to discover it. We'll be back.
All the darkness in the world cannot put out the glow of one candlelight. I've always known, sometime, somewhere, somehow I'm gonna find what I'm looking for. Where there's desire, there'll be the means, and where there's a will, there's a way. Only last night I had a dream, something good's gonna happen to me, and pointing towards me some kind of beam. Looks like God's light gonna shine on me. Only last night I had a dream, yes I did. Something good's gonna happen to me, and pointing towards me some kind of beam. Looks like God's light gonna shine on me.
Well, this is one moment I have looked forward to for years, maybe decades now. We have a legend himself joining us in our studio. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome the legendary Bongo Ikwue, legendary songwriter and composer, cultural icon, musical pioneer, voice of timeless classics. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm very well. I must say, full disclosure, you have lots of titles I could have used, but you told me, just stay simple, call me Bongo Ikwue.
That's who I am.
That's who you are.
Thank you.
And that's amazing, because in this climb, people like their titles. You see engineer, doctor, professor, chief, and they'll tell you, call everything if you want to address me, but you want to stay simple.
Yes.
You're going to be 83 next month, June the 6th.
Only 83.
Only 83, you said that earlier on. And I honestly don't want to ask a lot of questions. I just want you to share as much as you can, but we have to talk about your story.
Thank
But
you.
first, I want to know, how are you doing, sir?
I guess I'm doing very well. I'm doing okay. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be with you too.
Absolutely, we're grateful that you could join us. So let's walk through your story. From Cubana Boys
Exactly.
to Unibelu Brothers.
Exactly.
To Groovy's band. I mean, you have done so much. You have changed the landscape in your way. In fact, it is credited to you that you developed the original Nigerian pop sound. So maybe give us a little insight into your journey, really.
We talk about Cubana Boys. That was way back in Okene Provincial Secondary School.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we talked about Unibelu Brothers. That was way back years ago in ABU. And then the other one happened in Kaduna.
Yeah.
I was playing at the Rooftop Garden, and I called it our name then Bongos and the Rooftoppers.
Amazing. I want to talk about the song that just played now because it's something very personal to you. This is a song you re-performed just some years ago. You had done it originally, but then your wife passed on, and then you had to do the song again. I say this because one of the songs we know you for is Searching, Still Searching. Now you found love.
I did.
And after a beautiful journey, your wife passed on, and then you did the song. I know this is one of the most painful experiences of your life, but it has also shaped you in some way or the other. Speak to us about that.
Well, I don't think any human is a robot, so the consciousness of feeling and missing somebody is so profound, it's difficult to explain to anybody. My dear wife, when she always told me something. She always looked forward to the day when I'll stop running around the whole country and settle down at old age so we can have a lot of time together. It's very painful. It never did happen. It never happened.
Wow.
And so when she passed on, I dedicated this song. Only last night I had a dream, something good was going to happen to me, you know, pointing towards me. Some kind of a beam, looks like God's hand will shine on me. May God's hand shine on all of this country.
Amen.
Thank
Amen.
you.
And I'll just draw an inference from your song, Still Searching. For the average Nigerian, I know you've been speaking about governance. You've been speaking to the government of late. You did a video to President Bola Tinubu, and you spoke to him about harnessing the strength of the youth, whether in sports, entertainment, music, and that was quite instructive. So some will say Nigerians are still searching for good governance, or the very best of it. They're searching for the best infrastructure. So with the benefit of old age, wisdom, we'll still talk about your music, but I want you to also speak to the reality of Nigerians, because that's what your music, the reality of Nigerians. What message do you have for government, yet again, from the benefit of your wisdom?
You know, it's a very difficult question for me to answer because I know how little we know as humans. Our knowledge is so infinitesimal. I don't feel I'm qualified to talk about anything because there's so much that we don't know about. Maybe the only reason I think I know is because I don't know at all. But governance to me, put very simply, means service. You have to be able to learn to serve your people. And talking about service, service is the only commodity today for sale. If you have a beautiful hotel and you don't have service, you have nothing. You have a wonderful station like you have, and you can't render service. So service must also transcend into whoever is leading. Any country must learn to render service first. It takes a little to understand. Maybe I don't quite understand what I'm talking, but I can feel it. Once you're unable to render service and you are just taking, you know, that's problem.
Wow, service. And your life has been one of service.
Service is the only, you see, to give is much more beautiful than to take. If you ever given something to somebody who actually needed it at a particular time, the feeling is unbelievable to express.
To give is more beautiful than to take.
Yes.
Amazing. So let's talk about all the things you have given us. Timeless hits. I just talked about Still Searching. You redid some of them. What are some of your fondest memories about your journey, your art, the performing, and all of that? What are some of your fondest memories?
Well, there are quite a lot of them, but when I first met my wife, I didn't think she would say yes, and she did say yes. That's unbelievable, isn't it?
At that point,
that's unbelievable, isn't it?
At that point, you
She looked so pretty.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, is this really going to happen? And it did happen.
Wow. Amazing. And your music as well, because you've traveled far and wide. There are still young people, by the way, who love your music. They were not born when you were performing or when you did those songs, but they listened to your song and they fell in love. So again, we want to know about your journey, becoming well-known in Nigeria, becoming a hit. How did all those things happen, and how do you feel?
I really don't know. There are lots of things I don't know, but I think it's the hand of the Almighty, providence. I believe what I don't understand sometimes. I think God is the most complex of all the beings. He's the ultimate mystery. We take him for granted. So I would say everything that happened to me carried the hand of providence along with it. And I'm not a religious person, but I'm a total believer in God Almighty. There are two different things. Maybe we'll talk about that later. Because people talk about the wonders of God. There's so much. Let me give you a simple example. Water. Have you ever imagined if water has a density like oil? The first rain, it will never dry again. But the Almighty thinker thought about everything. Why did God create an ant? As a professor of surgery, right? Big medical surgeon. But can you imagine the leg of a little ant breaks? And this your almighty surgeon can't fix it. I think I'll stop there.
Amazing.
That's how little, how nothing we are.
Wow. So my colleagues are in Lagos, and they're really raring to come into this conversation. So Jeffrey Bukola, over to you now. Okay, we'll get to them in a moment. But I don't know if you still write music.
Oh yeah, I still do.
No way.
In fact, right now I'm working on what I call the power of zero. I don't see how I can condense that into a song. I think the power of zero. I can talk a little about that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Please.
You know, they told us in school, right, that zero is nothing. That's not true. Zero is not nothing. Zero is only zero. If zero is nothing, you cannot put 3 zeros after 1 and it becomes 1,000. Nor can you put 6 zeros after 1, it becomes 1,000,000, and go on and on. The power is zero is the ultimate power. See, zero is not greedy. If you divide anything by zero, you get infinity. Zero is ruthless. If you multiply anything by zero, it takes it to its level, leaves it right there. And zero is very humble. You can laugh at zero, but it remains zero. And it does all it has to do. I believe that God Almighty assumed the humility of zero to be the Almighty God. And if you want to be like God, you have to become as humble as zero and completely do away with arrogance.
Wow. I'm not sure I've heard such a powerful description.
I call it the power of zero.
The power of zero. So are you going to write an album on this? Is it going to be a compilation?
You know, there are some songs that are impossible to write. What I feel is so big, is so great, I don't think I have the energy or the power to subdue it, particularly with the power of zero. I started writing some songs from long ago, too. I did a song called Man and Man. Here I said how man will steal from some man, and the same man will give to another. How a man discovers arms and weapons and things for destruction. The same man struggles to develop medicine to cure. So man gives and man takes, man builds up, man cuts down. And this is expressed in the power of zero from the very beginning. Negative and positive must coexist for there to be existence. Otherwise, there will be no existence. I didn't do that. The Almighty did it.
Amazing.
If there's no tall, there's no short. There's no fat, there's no thin. If there's no white, there's no black. If there's no hell, there's no heaven. If there's no God, there's no devil. I can go on. Everything in this world is processed on the coexistence of positivity and negativity.
I can actually listen to you all day, sir. I can listen to you all day because there's so much wisdom that you bring to bear. I don't know if that's as a result of age, as a result of your experiences, or just your personality in that sense, but you are a treasure, a national, in fact, a continental treasure. Maybe you'll teach me some of your songs. Maybe we'll sing together on the show this morning.
Well, your face is so pretty. Got songs you sell, I know that.
I'll take that as a compliment. But you know, you also have a legacy, and I wonder what you want your legacy to be like. Because some don't get a chance to curate their legacy, but you have a chance to do that, and you've been doing that consistently. So what is that one thing or things that you want to be remembered for?
If only we know how much we don't know. Humility will be the only legacy that I'll call a legacy. Because there's nothing, we own nothing, we understand nothing. Even the Almighty have been warning us. You see, He gave you 2 ears, right? 1 mouth. That means listen more than talk, always. When you go to a place and all you are doing is talking, you are failing yourself, you are failing everything.
So, by the way, I follow your social media. You have a social media and Instagram. You do videos and moments with Bongo Ikwue. It's great to see you do all of that, share your knowledge. But can we sing together?
Okay, which song do you want to sing?
Which one do you want to sing?
What's gonna be?
Okay.
You start and I put a harmony. 1, 2. What's gonna be?
What's gonna be?
What goes up must come down.
What goes up must come down.
Together.
Okay.
What's gonna be is gone together.
Oh, you know what? Let me give you the beat, then you can do the singing.
Okay. No, I thought you were going to sing along with me, and I harmonize it for you.
I don't think I'm fit to sing your song.
Why not? Perfectly okay.
So I want to learn from you.
Thank
so
you.
You can sing with us. I can provide the beat.
Okay.
And then...
What's gonna be is gonna be. What goes up must come down. What's gonna be is gonna be. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Ain't nothing you can do about it. Thank you.
It's gonna be,
it's gonna be. Goes up. I'm trying to harmonize it now.
Ah, okay. So you can teach me that line again so I can sing it with
What's gonna be is gonna be. Go on.
What's gonna be is gonna be.
Yeah. What goes up must come down. What's gonna be is gonna be. I ain't nothing you... I've changed my... Just to provide...
That's why you're the legend. I give up officially. But I must say thank you to you for all that you've done, for all of the gifts you have given us, and for the wisdom that you share. I know you have such a great legacy. You have children doing great things and all of that. So are you inviting us for your 83rd birthday?
Really? I want nobody other than you to be there. The whole of China's television, you're most welcome.
On June the 6th.
On June the 6th. And remember, I've always liked your MD when he was a newscaster.
That's Dr. John Momo.
John Momo.
Yes.
He was phenomenal.
Amazing.
So,
and that's why we're here.
I can want nobody else but him on my birthday, man.
We look forward to it.
But tell him that.
I will,
he was
certainly.
A phenomenal newscaster.
Thank you so much. And that's why we're here as well, learning from him and drinking from
I remember him
water.
always. He was very good looking too.
Thank you so much. We've been speaking with the legendary Bongo Ikwue. I do not take this moment for granted. I want to say thank you so much once again for your time. So, what's gonna be is gonna be. We're going to take a quick break now. I will continue enjoying the conversation with him behind the scenes. But we're taking it over to Lagos, where Jeffrey and Bukola will be bossing some moves for you this morning. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back. It's still me. My name is Jeffrey Uzong. Just in case you're wondering what's going on, I just decided to change and flip the look a little bit, just show that we can be like this when we want to be. But I enjoyed every bit of that conversation between Kayode and the legendary, the icon himself, Bongo Ikwue. I wish I was the one talking to him. We wanted to talk to him, but hey, we needed to allow it there. And Kayode, we caught you there. I'm not sure whether you know that song or you don't know that song, but anyway, you escaped. But great conversation you had with Bongo Ikwue. And we'll always like to have him back. Philosophical, quite intelligent and all of that. But hey, let's come back to Lagos. We have CJ right here with us in the studio. Is a dancer, a choreographer. What else have I not mentioned? Literally everything.
Everything.
So he's going to be showing us, it's Friday. So I did tell you to put on your gears and get ready for some moves. And so I told him, big disclaimer, by the way, I'm not a great dancer, but I'm going to follow through. CJ, good to see you.
Great, sir. Good morning. Morning, ma.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Are you guys ready for me?
Yeah, we're ready for you. So now,
Jeffrey, your preparation must be equivalent to your dance this morning.
CJ, whatever you do,
It's going to be very, 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 very simple. All right, just follow me and do whatever.
No problem.
To the left and the right, and then we're good.
We're ready.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Easy. Come on. Yes, like that. Aha.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah.
Hey, yes. Thank you. That's it. You're getting it ready. Aha. Are you ready? Yeah. Now do something. Up and down. See, up and down. Up and down. Up and down. Yes. Do you have the energy?
Yes.
Come on. Yes. Aha. Okay. Are you ready? 3. Oh yeah, do something. 1. Single, single. Right, left, right, left, right. Again. Yes. Like that. Like that. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. So you 1, 2, up, 1, 2. Your right leg. Yes. Up. Like that. Again. Come on. Thank you. Mama is beating you already. Come on.
She said that.
Are you ready? 3. Oh yeah, do something easy. Hey. Yes. Come on. Aha. Like that. Hey.
Oh.
Thank you.
Oh.
Nice one. Aha. Yes.
Eyes
Are
for
you
sure
ready?
that moving and
Come
mine
on.
is not moving.
Oh yeah, do something. No, see. 1. Come on. Hey. Come on. Yes. Come on. Again. Yes. We have 8 counting there. 2. Aha. Yes. Are you ready? Oh yeah, do something. So you focus. 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 Hey, focus. Come on. Focus.
Yeah. I love it.
Right? Focus. Oh yeah, do something. So you have left to right. Right to left. Left to right. Again. Come on. Yes.
Okay, so I see you moved the laps as well.
Exactly. All right. Yeah, now. So you go now for the course right now. Yes. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Yes. Thank you.
Bukola rhythm. Bukola rhythm.
Come on. Are you ready?
See who is telling me about reading.
Rhythm. So you
See who is telling me about reading.
2, right, left, take it back. Put it back
This
like
dance
this.
is not that hard, right?
Honestly, trust me.
You'll be my dance coach. I like it.
All right, I got it, sir. Hey. Now, everybody, we are going to the left. So you go like this. That's one of our favorite dance. All right, come on.
I love it.
Now, other side, same thing. To your right. Yes.
This is like shooting, right?
Thank you. Oh yeah, do something. So you have, so you spray to yourself.
Woo.
Spray. Make sure you're
So we
stretching
see
your hands.
these ones on the Instagram videos.
Yeah. Like stretch it out back. Thank you. Aha. Are you ready? Now do something like this. So you want more like you're doing high knee. So you incorporate it into the dance. Yes. Like that. Thank you. I see you're breathing hard already.
Yeah.
Nice one is getting in. Are you ready? 3. Oh yeah, do. So you want down. This. Down. Like you're doing a good morning person. Yes. Thank you. Like that. Down. Ha. Yes. Are you ready? Now, oh yeah, do something. I am sure you're all familiar with this dance.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. Come on.
Okay.
Hey. Come on. Now do like this for me. Yes, your left hand, thank you.
Yeah, this is primary school dance.
Exactly, you get it back. Now, do something slowly. So you up, down, well known as DJ Chicken Dance.
Hey, I know voiceless that.
Come on. Hey. Yes.
I hope Kayode is dancing in Abuja.
Are you ready? 3. Oh yeah, do. So you go left and right. Left and right. Left and right. Yes.
Okay,
like
the heels
that.
are moving as well.
Very well. Are you ready? 3. Oh yeah, see. So you roll it down. I'm side now. Yes, like that. Keep it rolling. Keep it rolling. Don't forget each move has its counts. Yes. Are you ready? Now do something left and right as on toe. So you right, left, right, left. Yes. Thank you. Like that. Thank you. You're getting it right. Aha. Are you ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Now your right leg like this. Right. Right leg. So if you're feeling the pain in there, then you're doing the right thing. Nice one. Aha. 5, 4. You are changing your legs now. 3, 2, and 1.
Yeah.
Other side, same thing.
Okay.
1. Thank you. 2.
So what's this supposed to achieve?
3. You go side down. 4.
This dance
5.
and exercise.
Yes. Okay. 6. Oh yeah, do something. 1. Come on. A. Again. 2. For your arm now. All right.
Like
Again.
pride.
Yes. 3. Thank you. Yes. Come on. 4. Like that. Oh yeah, do something. So you go. Now you're relieving it out from the stress. Right. Like
Okay.
that. Like that. Again.
Get out all of the stress from the week.
Exactly. Yes. Are you ready? Now, let's do something, the main dance. You're right, so you go. More like you're doing a lunges.
No.
Oh, we're talking about that.
Exactly.
Great.
That was great. That was nice.
Whoa.
That was nice.
Good job.
Getting
Good
even
job.
more interesting.
I love it.
How do you feel?
I love it.
Feel alive.
It feels like dance is now
Yes.
easier with you.
Very.
So
very,
dance
very.
with CJ, how can we get to you on social media? Quickly.
So my Instagram handle is CJ Kimani. That's on Instagram. CEEJAY_KIMANI.
So please, if you find it hard to dance like me, you can see I tried today better than Bukola.
Not at all. I disagree.
CJ.
I disagree.
It's
And
with help of CJ.
there's no room for contestants. That's
Beautiful,
concerned.
beautiful. So this is how to end the Friday, a beautiful one. Thank you so much for your time. And but I must thank you first, CJ. Thank you so much. We're going to bring you again to make this dance easy so that some people cannot be,
Some people like Jeffrey,
Bukola.
who couldn't move their hips or their laps.
Thanks for your time and usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama.
Yes, I'm Bukola Cook. Of course, we'll be back again next week. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, carry this far away to Abuja, and we'll be back next week. Okay, let me teach you one dance.
This Etigi dance.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's the only dance I know how to dance.
Oh, really? Now this one she has to hustle and unless you show some more.
Okay.
Move.
Okay.
Come on. Hey, come on. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Now, let's sound it up. Oh, yeah, Shokira. Shokira. Oh, yeah, Shoki. Come on, again, Shoki.
And then we take it up and then we throw it.
Oh, throw. Yeah. That is the vibe.
Good job, Bukola, yes.
Thank you, Mama.
Good job.
Well done. Thank you so much.